Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig Podcast, we're talking about Starfield because it's finally here, and we're making some predictions for a possible upcoming Nintendo Direct.
Well, Daniel.
Well, Randy.
We've got Starfield. It's here. Now, we did not play it in early access. We waited until we were plebes. We waited until the game actually came out.
Yeah.
And, but we've been playing it. We both put in a good amount of hours on it now. Not a whole lot, but we've got enough to kind of give you our impressions.
Yep.
But, we put out a poll and talking about Starfield. And it definitely seems like from the comments, there are some people who are really enjoying it. There's some people who are not so enjoying it. I've got some theories on why.
You got some theories? You got some game theories?
I got some game theories on why I think some people are liking it and some people are not.
Okay.
But we've been playing it, but we'll kind of save our thoughts on what we'll sprinkle those in as we talk about the comments that we're getting here.
Oh, we're going to sprinkle.
We're going to sprinkle.
Sprinkle. Well, you want to start out with a poll here, Randy?
Let's do it.
Well, we asked the Gaming Gig Faithful. We said, have you tried Starfield? 2.9 thousand people voted. At 18%, people said, yes, I like it. At 4%, people said, yes, but I don't like it. And the vast majority at 78% said they haven't even played it.
A lot of people haven't given it a go. I'm surprised at how few people have given this a go.
Me too.
Overall, the people who have played it seem to like it. 4 out of 22, I don't know what percent that would be. I guess that would be 2 out of 11. So, I don't know. We're looking at not quite 20% of people who played it don't like it, which is not a crazy, huge number, but it seems like a lot of people don't like it.
Yep. And I mean, it's a big Bethesda RPG. I'm not surprised that some people don't like it.
Right. I am impressed that it's come out and it's not, I've definitely run across some bugs.
Yeah.
But nothing too crazy yet. And have you run across anything that was like unplayably, messing you up?
My game has literally not bugged once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The only thing, the closest I came to a bug is I did kind of squeeze between these big pillars and a wall, and the camera kind of freaked out for a second. But I don't think that's really a bug. I think I just shouldn't have been there. I didn't really fit there. So, I think I kind of broke it for a second. But no, I haven't had any bugs. I haven't had any save file issues. It's been good. And I'm glad to see that the ragdoll physics from Skyrim are still intact.
Yeah.
Because when you get blasted, you get blasted.
Yeah. I've had some bugs. I mean, most of the bugs I've encountered were when speaking to NPCs. There's something weird going on with the camera sometimes where they don't always start out. They'll start speaking, but they won't be looking at the camera, and then the camera will jerk to in front of them. I've had that happen a number of times. And the other day I was playing and I had an NPC just it never turned around. It did the thing where it was supposed to zoom in on their face, but it was on the backside of them.
He didn't want to look at you.
I was looking at the back of their head the whole conversation.
Yeah. Maybe that's just their species.
It could be, but no. But also, I did tell you about I had my save file get bugged or something happened where if I took a step, I loaded the save file, everything looked good, but the moment I took a step, the game would just crash, and it happened multiple times. Luckily, I was able to just not move and fast travel to another location that fixed it. But that's that's pretty common, I think, amongst Bethesda games, things like that.
Yes, I have some experience with things like this with Bethesda, and I still have the reflex that I had back in the day with Fallout 3, which is when you save, rotate between 3 or 4 different save files. That way, you never lose that much time, and if one gets corrupted, it's not that big a deal.
Right.
I still do that.
But I think overall the game's in a pretty good state, which is pretty cool. So no super complaints with that. I think it's better than I expected.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. It's just off the initial impression. I really do feel like it is the most polished Bethesda RPG they've dropped.
So Todd wasn't lying when he said it was.
Now I haven't gone to that moon yet.
No, the one he pointed out. You can go there.
I went to the moon.
I did too.
Yeah.
We've been to the moon. But we have some comments here about the game. Some people who enjoy it, some people who don't. We're going to get into both here. So first we got TMI, who said, the story is really interesting, and every single time I travel somewhere, I feel like I barely scratched the surface of that area. It's an incredibly big game that has a huge amount of detail.
I agree. Every time I warp somewhere, I'm like, I go to the objective, but then I'm like, I need to come back here because there's like 3 or 4 new different landing spots, and there's obviously something to do.
There's a lot to do, I think. And I definitely feel it. Like, I feel like when I've been spending a lot of time on the main quests, and when you're doing that, you kind of get to see, the areas, but you feel like you just really barely do scratch the surface of what is there. And then if you go off the beaten path, you say, okay, like, there is a lot here to do. And, you can choose to interact with it or not, but it definitely feels like it's just full of things. All the NPCs seem to be, have tons of options that you can interact with them and choose to do separate things if you really want to. And it just feels like there's so much.
Yeah. And you pick up quests from just anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
You walked in today and I was killing these pirates, for this settler. I didn't think she was going to give me a quest. I just walked up to her and I was like, I just want to see what she would say.
Right.
And she was like, I'll give you money if you kill these men.
So
murder happened.
Yeah, it's like there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, like, there's side quests that are combat things. There's going to be there are like fetch quest things, but there's all kinds of stuff. You're going to travel to different planets. Sometimes you won't. It's just there's lots and lots of stuff to do. Now, we do have a comment here that's a little bit more negative, and it's a reply to the earlier one. It is for that one. It's from Gamer Price.
Gamer Price says, meh, sounds like you're overrating this game. It's honestly a decent, good-looking game, but it's definitely not record-breaking. We've seen it before. The competition for releases this year is fierce, and Starfield barely competes with the big titles. I think Xbox players are just overhyped because they finally had an exclusive to brag about, but in reality, it's just good, not great.
So, I mean, we've had a lot of great games this year.
We have.
So it's a good point. I mean, we've had Tears of the Kingdom. We're going to have Spider-Man 2, which I expect to thoroughly enjoy. But we've had, we had Baldur's Gate 3 come out.
Yep.
Then people love that game.
People are still just obsessed with that game.
Yeah. We had a Diablo 4 come out. People love that one.
Yep. We've had some great indies. We got Sea of Stars recently. That thing is freaking great.
Yeah, we're going to have Super Mario Bros. Wonder come out at the end of the year. That is probably going to be one of the best-selling games this year. Let's not forget, back in February, we got Hogwarts Legacy, which was a huge game back at the beginning of the year.
Feels like a lifetime ago.
I know. It really does. We've got so many amazing games, and I'm sure I've missed a couple that have been just phenomenal this year. So, definitely the competition this year is fierce.
It is.
But that being said, a Bethesda RPG speaks to a certain type of gamer a lot more than maybe some of those other games do.
Yes.
It may not have the same broad appeal, but I do think that, in a way, this is definitely going to go down as being one of the big games this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to say yet that it's just record-breaking and great. Like, I'm not ready to say that yet, but it gives me the same vibes that those games always give me. And like, when I look back on my favorite games ever, I have to list several Bethesda games. So, do with that what you will, but it feels good.
Yeah, I mean, I would, then in the comment there it says good, not great. I think in ways, so far, what I've experienced, it definitely isn't giving me like, this is amazing, but it is good. In fact, I would say it's probably very good.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, at the end of the year, we'll have to, I'll have to spend more time with it. And there's a lot of time to be spent with this game. So I really have to come back to, retrospectively and say, like, how did it stack up against? I just can't tell right now. I really can't.
No, I can't either. But I'm really glad we have it. And I'm ready to, consistently dump some hours into this thing.
And, I think that there's a little bit of truth that Xbox players are overhyped because they have something exclusive to brag about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it's good for Xbox players that we have this game.
And it's good for everybody.
It is good for everybody, yeah. Because Xbox needed this. It needed Starfield to come out and be good, or very good. It didn't necessarily need it to be like the best game ever, but Xbox needed a good exclusive.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very good thing for Xbox players. I do think that there is a tinge of the console war thing going on, which is, I think, it's it's definitely going to be here. So I think there are some people who are going to be anti Starfield just because it is a console exclusive.
But what those people I feel like are overlooking is that if you're a fan of games, if you're a fan of PlayStation games, you want PlayStation to have fierce competition so that they make better games.
Right.
So you should be rooting for everybody all the time.
Yeah.
You really should. Like, I see the same thing in like the handheld PC space because I love my Steam Deck so much. But I want the Lenovo Legion Go to be awesome. I wanted the ROG Ally to be awesome because I want Valve to go back and make a Steam Deck that's awesomer.
Right.
You know?
We want competition because
it's good for the consumer.
The more good games we have, the more it helps everybody. The more good games we have, the more good games we have.
Regardless of where they come out.
Right. And we've seen that this year. We have seen the competition be super fierce, and I think we've gotten the best games maybe ever this year because of it. And it's because we have, like, the Switch being so successful, the PlayStation 5 being so successful, like those two consoles being, doing so well, I think has really driven competition.
Yeah.
And Xbox, maybe the console hasn't done that well, but Game Pass has done very well.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to keep in mind, like, Starfield is an Xbox game, but that doesn't mean it's an Xbox console exclusive. It's on PC, but it's also on cloud.
That's true.
And it plays okay on cloud, at least from what I played.
I tried to play it on cloud last night, and I couldn't because the wait was 40 minutes.
That shows you how many people are playing this via cloud.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to have an Xbox to play this game.
That's right.
So it's a good thing. It's definitely good. If it came out broken, if we were getting Starfield, I think we'd be having a different conversation here. But the fact that it's...
We're not.
Yeah.
It's not broken. You can play it.
You absolutely can. So we have a comment here from user, I don't know, and then a lot of numbers, said, I think of it as just a game. The fact that flying through space is kind of pointless, and for a space game, that's kind of sad. It doesn't feel like an open world because most of it is just a rock and dust. There are no vehicles on the planet that I've encountered. At least walking everywhere is boring, and there is nothing to see besides rocks and sands. I'm going to stop at that point and we'll kind of go through because there's probably another half to this comment.
I want to touch on the whole flying through space is kind of pointless thing. They're kind of right.
Yeah.
And that is a disappointment.
It's probably one of the bigger disappointments of the game.
Yeah, you can dogfight, and it's fun. It's not a bad feeling, but it's not my favorite part of the game. And yeah, you're right. You really don't ever just like fly your ship somewhere.
And it doesn't feel like an open world game because it's really not. It's it's like that open zone thing where you have open areas, but they're not connected. You have to fast travel between them, which means it's not a continuous open world. It's just not.
And now the zones, we talked yesterday on the way to a gig about like how big are these zones, because my thing is like, it's not open world. You do have to fast travel to these zones, but if these zones are like as big as Skyrim, then okay, fair play to you,
Yeah.
And they're probably not all the same size, but last night I did just pick a direction and run in it. And I ran for quite a long ways, and I never hit an invisible wall, and I got bored and left.
Right.
Now, I just picked, like, honestly, this may have been on Earth. And I don't know if you've been to Earth, but there's not a lot on Earth.
I haven't been.
So, I just ran and ran and ran, and eventually I was like, okay, I'm leaving. So they seem big.
Yeah. I think one of the problems here, I don't know if this comment touches on it later on. Let's continue the comment, and maybe they do. It said, also, the cities are more like towns as they're very small. At least most of them are. There are some really big ones. Some might fit into the category of villages. Lastly, they give you dialogue options, but most of the time it doesn't change anything. Example, in the beginning, after you touch the rock and have a vision, I chose the dialogue option that hid what I saw, and everyone still knew what I saw. It's a fun game because it's new, but it's is it worth making me wait 12 plus years for The Elder Scrolls 6? Heck no. Yeah, so didn't touch on what I was hoping they might touch on, which is that I do think that the procedurally generated stuff, it doesn't seem as good as the actual like curated areas.
Yeah. No, it's probably not. And they're right. Sometimes it is just dust and rocks. But I'm thinking a lot of times it's not going to be. So I think it's just kind of depend on where you are.
Yeah, but if the game doesn't make you want to go out and explore the areas, which so far I haven't, like I've gone out to see what there is, and it just seems like there's a whole lot of nothing, which is maybe realistic. to the way it may be.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me want to explore like a game like Tears of the Kingdom does, or Breath of the Wild. Like really makes me want to go see what's over there because you can see that there's something there, and I got to go check it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's as much of that. Maybe I just haven't been in the right places. Could happen.
I mean, I think you're right to a certain extent. I think, they want you to explore space, right? Like, you can't explore space by walking to a distant mountain.
Right.
You have to explore space by, like, getting in your ship and grav jumping. Fast traveling.
Yeah.
To another planet. And then you see, okay, I can land at these places. And you go there, and that kind of is their version of exploring, it seems like.
But it's kind of lame in that you do it on a map. It's
I agree.
like it's not. It doesn't give you the same. It doesn't give you the same sense of exploration.
No, it doesn't. It's a very different vibe.
It's a very different vibe. And it's not that I don't enjoy it. I love space. If you know anything about me, I'm obsessed with it. So I like that. And I don't even really mind the fact that you get the fast travel everywhere. It is a little annoying that you get the fast travel like 4 times to go anywhere. Like it's not just the one fast travel. So you got to fast travel to your ship, then you got to take off, then you got to fast travel to the system, then you got to fast travel to the planet. It's like, and then you got to pick your landing spot. So it's like 5 times you got to fast travel just to go anywhere.
That's true.
And that is
pretty funny.
It's a little annoying. But at the same time, I kind of like it because it makes you feel like you're going somewhere. It doesn't, it doesn't like diminish the fact that you're traveling such a long way.
This feeling that we're talking about, how the fast travel makes it feel like you're not adventuring and exploring as much. If it was one click, it would be a million times worse.
Or exactly, yeah.
It really would. I mean, if I could be on Earth and I could just click a planet in another system and just be there,
yeah,
you really wouldn't have any sort of sense of exploration or anything.
Which, it's like maybe they did the best they could, being the fact that you're traveling through space. I guess the only other way to do it would be the way some other games have done it. I kind of think of what is the game that I'm thinking of? It is the Ubisoft game
Starlink.
Starlink. In Starlink, you actually have to do like some traveling towards the planets, and then once you get close enough, then you can land and stuff. I feel like that felt way more immersive to me, the way they did that. So maybe they didn't get the best way to do it, but
yeah.
I think they picked the most convenient way to do it while also trying to make you feel at least like you were still actually traveling there.
I agree. I think they did try to make it convenient because space is so big. Like, I think they were going for a certain element of realism there, and they didn't want us to be sitting here, like 4 days. What's the date? Yeah, 4 days after the game came out, and being like, "Well, have you made it to your first planet yet?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true.
Because I'm halfway there.
It's tough. Here's a comment. Y King actually touches more on what I thought the other one was going to do. So here's with the Y Kings.
Walking says it's an 8 out of 10 overall. However, it starts as a 6 out of 10. The longer you play, the better it gets. The only way it would have been a 9 or higher is if the procedurally generated content was better.
I didn't mind the way it started.
I didn't either. I thought it started pretty quick.
It does start pretty quick. But I think some people say it starts slow. I think it depends on what you want out of it. If you're looking at it as you want to get into maybe the more like get off the beaten path type of stuff, it definitely starts a little slow.
It does.
Yeah.
And I did mainline to that point in the game. I told you I was doing that yesterday.
Yeah. So, but that I would say it's probably only, maybe 2 hours at most until you really get to a point where you're probably could start branching off and doing some other stuff.
And you really probably should follow the main story for at least a couple hours.
Yeah.
Just to get a feel for what you can do and how you do it.
Right, because it almost acts like a tutorial.
Yeah.
It's weird because it doesn't hold your hand and like make you do it. You can go do other stuff if you wanted to, but you're probably not going to know like why or even like how to do some of those things.
Yeah. It taught me some things that I didn't know I was even going to be able to do, which makes perfect sense. Like docking at like ships that are just floating in space. Like I hadn't thought about that for some reason. I think Todd Howard said we could do it, but
yeah, I remember we saw that in the in like the big deep dive.
So they made me do that, and I was like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. So I mean, like there are definitely some things like sticking with the main quest for I'd say at least a couple hours is definitely going to get you into the kind of the I guess like the gameplay loop.
Yeah.
Get you kind of going into it to figure out okay, this is what I do.
Yeah, and I really think I should probably go back to it because, like Jake Baldino said, like it kind of eventually gets you into the factions of it, and I'm not there at all. Like I don't know the factions at
Yeah,
all.
I've been kind of focusing primarily on the main quest, and it definitely does. And it also kind of gets you in just some different scenarios that I think you'd probably come across some organically if you did some other stuff, but it might take you a while
Yeah.
to get you into these different gameplay scenarios, because the opening hours are going to get you into like your dogfighting. It's going to get you into the faction stuff. It's going to put you in these scenarios where you're having to do maybe some more tame stuff. It's just kind of hit you with a probably a more curated example of what the entire game, what all the things it offers are.
Yeah, and if you go off the beaten path like I did last night, you're also gonna, you're running the risk of finding those areas where it's way too hard for you. Like I did that, but I have a tendency to just like beat my head against a wall, and I found this like big. I mean, it's not a fort, but it's like that's what it felt like. It's just this big facility, and there was like turrets and robots patrolling the grounds, and then there were like people, and there were people inside.
I think I actually know exactly what you're talking about because I think I did the same thing. That was one of the parts that I felt like was quite difficult.
Yeah, it was close to a main quest. It was
Yes.
like I was doing a main quest, and then they were like, "Well, do you want to do this or this?" And I was like, Psh, "I want to do this." And I killed everyone, but it was not easy.
See, I had to go through that area,
Yeah,
and I just like basically skipped over it, like kind of
no.
just ran through it as fast as I possibly could to get through it.
I procedurally executed every last minute. That is my fort now.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, I don't know. I think that to kind of wrap up the conversation before we move on to Nintendo talk, I think it's a good game. I really do. I think that it's not going to be for everybody. And luckily, it's on Game Pass. So if you think you're on the fence about it, try it on Game Pass and see if it's for you. Just give it a go. Play it via cloud if you don't have an Xbox and just try it.
Yeah, Dan's going to do that. Dan's going to play it via cloud.
Yeah, and I think it could totally be played that way. From what I tried, it seemed like it was totally playable, and I think that you might find that you really like it. You might find that you don't like it, and that's okay either way. But
Yeah.
I'd say it's worth trying, definitely.
Well, Randy, do you know where there's a small yet rabid community of people who, some of which do really like Starfield?
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Really?
Yes, I think you're going to talk about our Discord community.
I am. The Gaming Gig Discord server is popping, people. So, not popping people, it's popping, people. So, if you want to join, which you should, you need to click the join link in the description of this video. Come hang out with us.
We'd love to see you there, guys. All right, Daniel. Okay, so this week, by the time this podcast comes out, it may have already been announced. Rumor is, and it's been leaked, now unofficially leaked,
Right.
that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct sometime this week, either Wednesday or Thursday. And so that's exciting. It's not really crazy that we're going to get a September Direct. We pretty much always get a September Direct. But I'm excited about it. But there's been a couple games that have leaked. And like I said, this is unofficial, but pretty much most people are saying that it probably is going to happen.
What would that be?
And there are two games that have leaked. Actually, there's been more than two games, but two big ones. One is a new, or I guess I shouldn't say new, but a Donkey Kong game. And next is an F-Zero game.
Okay.
Now, whether those are new games or remasters of old ones, or we don't know. That we don't know.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I would be disappointed if they just remastered an old Donkey Kong game. It's been so long since we got a new one, it's time.
Well, I don't want to disappoint you too much, but actually the person who leaked this I saw this morning, has actually kind of expanded on it and given us more details on what that Donkey Kong game is.
Yeah?
And according to them, it's not a Donkey Kong game. It's actually a Mario versus Donkey Kong game, which is not at all what I think people were expecting.
Okay, I've never played a Mario versus Donkey Kong game, but people say they're good. Like the old ones for the GBA, people like.
Yeah, those are. But I don't think. I don't even think you play as. I think you play as Mario.
You do.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think that people that has deflated some people. I think people wanted a Donkey Kong game, and I'm not saying we're not going to get a full-on Donkey Kong game because we might.
It is time.
It is time. It's been 10 years, I think. I don't remember
Tropical
when
Freeze was so good too.
Yeah.
Like, come on, just give us another one.
But we have the F-Zero thing, and I think the F-Zero. I would say there's a couple options. I think it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to get a new F-Zero game.
I would be shocked if we did.
Asterisk on that. I'd
Don't
say
cuss
that,
at me.
I think that we're going to have probably either a remaster of the GameCube F-Zero GX, I think is what it's called. I've never played it, but people love it. Mm-hmm. I think a remaster of that would be somewhat likely.
Yeah.
I've heard people float the idea of a F-Zero 99, which seems really weird to me.
F-Zero 99. How would you...
I don't know how it would work.
I would be open to that.
So in some ways, maybe that would be a new game, or maybe it would be kind of a mod on an older game. I don't know, but
yeah, if they gave us like SNES F-Zero, but made it like a
somehow
some sort
competitive.
of elimination style, I would play that. I used to play F-Zero on the Game Boy Advance all the time. Yeah. I loved F-Zero back then.
But I wanted to get a feel for, we have these two big game leaks. I wanted to get a feel for which one people would rather see. So I put out a poll saying, which would you rather see from Nintendo? A new Donkey Kong game or a new F-Zero game?
Yep.
69% of people said Donkey Kong.
Nice.
And 31% said F-Zero.
Well, I'm not surprised at all.
No.
That it's, leaning towards DK. I'm still a little hung up on the fact that you're saying this guy says we're going to get a Mario versus Donkey Kong game. I hope that's not true. Even if they're awesome games, it's not what I want. Mm-hmm. But okay. And I don't think that's what the people were thinking when they voted.
No, I don't think so either. We have a comment here from John Adams. Hit us with it, Daniel.
John Adams, one of our great founding fathers, said, "They do a new Donkey Kong game every couple of years. There hasn't been a new F-Zero since like 2003. I'm willing to bet most of y'all have never even played one, which is why you picked Donkey Kong. Please, for the love of God, give us a new F-Zero. Give us Metroid Prime 4 while you're at it." Really shoehorned that one in there.
We all want Prime 4, right?
Yeah.
But, one, they normally do a new Donkey Kong every couple of years, but over the last decade, we've had a Donkey Kong drought.
Yeah.
We're not getting a new Donkey Kong every couple of years.
No,
it's
we're
been
not.
a long time.
But I do think they're probably onto something on how most of these people probably haven't played F-Zero.
I've never played F-Zero.
Yeah, I think there's probably something to that.
Yeah, and that's my thing. My excitement for F-Zero is low because I've never played one. Mm-hmm. I know you have. You played like a GBA one and really liked it, right?
Yes, me and one of our friends, Adam, when we were kids, we used to play that thing on link cable, and we both loved that game. The one we played was F-Zero Maximum Velocity. I've also played F-Zero GP Legend, I think it's called, which is another GBA one. But Maximum Velocity was my jam when I was a kid.
So, what's, as a person who hasn't played it, I know that they're, fairly, high-speed racers. That's kind of their gimmick is that, you're traveling really fast. What is the reason that I should want to play, an F-Zero game? Why?
I just liked it because it was a fun racing game. There's no crazy gimmicks to it. I mean, you have the courses were fun. The setting, the sci-fi setting of it, I liked. And, you do have energy, so you can blow up. That's one gimmick they do have. So you kind of have to manage that, and you can heal every lap. There's some spaces you kind of like a pit stop, but it's not a stop. You just drive along this green stuff and it heals you. But so when you bump people, you lose health. When you bump the wall, you lose health. It was really fun. It was a good feeling, fun racing game. I liked it.
Sounds like it has some unique things about it that aren't available in maybe more your traditional, realistic racers. And it's not a kart racer either. So maybe it has this weird, its own space. And maybe that's why we need it.
And I'm telling you, back in the day, I liked F-Zero Maximum Velocity more than Mario Kart Super Circuit.
There you go. Well, we spoke about this before, but we were saying the other day that maybe it'd be cool if we did get F-Zero, because then if it's so different than Mario Kart, maybe it would be cool for Nintendo to have these two separate, very different racing franchises that they can alternate between. So it's weird that we haven't gotten one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like how Carter just said. He said both. Both is good.
Getting both an F-Zero and a Donkey Kong. I agree. I would love to see it. It's been rumored for so long that we're going to get a new Donkey Kong game that it seems weird that now the leak is that it's a Mario versus Donkey Kong game. Because
That's very weird to me.
Like, I've heard that we were going to get a new... At first, it was a new 3D Donkey Kong. Then it was like, no, it's 2D. No, it's 2.5D. Okay, like, who knows? But there's been a rumor for so long. And where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So I expect to see a new Donkey Kong game.
As long as it's at least 2.4D, I will accept it.
Yeah, at least 2.4. I don't know. I would love to see a new Donkey Kong game, whether it be 3D or a 2D game. We have some comments here from a number of people who are all having a very similar idea. From Todd, what is this? Consuelo. And then user. This is maybe a different user. I don't know, the same one or a different one from earlier. But saying
different.
Todd said remastered DK64. Consuelo said I want a new 3D Donkey Kong game like DK64 or a new racing Donkey Kong game.
Diddy Kong Racing? 2023? Count me in.
Yeah. And then user said an open world Donkey Kong game like Mario Odyssey. Yeah, I mean, like...
Ooh, I would love that.
That would be cool. But I'll tell you, I don't want a remaster of DK64. I never liked that game as a kid. I never owned it. I just rented it. Never really cared for it. It was just a pure collectathon that wasn't that interesting to me. I thought other games like Banjo and obviously Mario 64 did a lot better.
Clearly, those were better.
Yeah.
But I like DK64 too.
Yeah. I wonder if that's just like nostalgia, though.
I mean, I liked it back then.
I need to go back.
I promise
and
I
replay
liked it when I was a kid.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like, I need to go back and play it. It's been so many years.
I don't want a remaster of DK64 though. That's not what I want.
Okay.
I want something new. But
Yeah.
But I'm just saying I did like it.
I don't want a game in the style of DK64 is what I'm getting at.
No, you don't want a 3D?
No, I don't want. If it's going to be a 3D, make it more entertaining and engaging. Like one person said here, like Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Like Mario Odyssey, yes, is a collectathon, but it has like some really good platforming. It has a lot of unique elements that are not just like go here and grab the thing, And I think that DK64, from what I remember that the platforming wasn't very fun, and it was just a lot of just like traveling around. The combat wasn't that fun. I just didn't like it that much.
The DK rap? The
DK rap
didn't
was
like
cool. That was
come
cool.
on.
And that was like when you started up the game, it
Yeah.
did the DK rap.
I was in.
Cool. That was cool.
I mean, I'm telling you what, DK rap and a couple of pizza pockets. Holy crap, you're ready for a good night in 19 whatever year.
I'm going to guess that DK64 came out. Let me think about this. I'm going to say that was 2000.
Yeah, I think 2000 is a good guess.
I'm going to go with 2000.
I'm going to go with I'm going to go with 2001 just to be different.
I don't think it was a 90s game. I think that was
I
a
don't either.
late N64 game.
Yeah.
I think it was 2000. What year was it?
1999. Now, Ocarina of Time was 98, right? The reason I knew it had to be after... Yeah. I knew it had to be after that because Donkey Kong 64 used the expansion thing.
Yes, it did.
So I knew it was later than Ocarina, but I thought it would be a little later than a year.
But if we do get a new 3D Donkey Kong game, very much I want it to be in the style of Mario Odyssey. That would be awesome. I would love that. And it would be cool to have different abilities, because of it being a Donkey Kong game.
Right. Kind of like in Donkey Kong 64.
And I do think it would be cool if we could swap between characters like in Donkey Kong 64, but I know what I'm saying. But what I'm getting at is that I just didn't think the Donkey Kong 64 was that interesting to play. I think the movement needs to be better. The combat needs to be better. There needs to be not so much stuff that's tedious. I just remember DK64 being tedious and frustrating. And there would be things that you could only get as certain characters, and you would have to go back to somewhere to swap and then go all the way back just to get that one thing and then come back. And it was just like a lot of stuff like that.
You're right.
Okay.
Jam609 said, Tropical Freeze is just so perfect and dense that I could replay that forever. Would like to see F-Zero get some attention. Yeah, I'm with you. Tropical Freeze is freaking amazing. And I saw somebody the other day. I'm starting to I don't know why I was a little bit of a slow curmudgeon on Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I want to play it. I just hadn't seen anything or heard anything that made me think I should be psyched yet, right? Other than the fact that it looks so polished. Anyway, I'm rambling. I heard somebody that played it say that this is like the Mario version of Tropical Freeze. And that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to hear. Because Tropical Freeze is a little wild sometimes.
I've only played a very small amount of Tropical Freeze. I want to go back and play it. I tried to play it in co-op with Catherine. It's a very difficult platformer.
Yeah.
And Catherine wasn't up to snuff at the time. Maybe she is now. Maybe it's time to go back.
Maybe it's time.
She's much better now than she was back then.
I'm telling you, dude. Well, you have the Wii U version, don't you?
I do have the
So
Wii
you
U
don't
version.
have Funky Kong.
Right. Yeah.
Because you could have just gave her Funky Kong and it would
We
all
would
have been
set.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And maybe that's the thing. But I got the Wii U version for like $10, and like the Switch version is still $60. So
Is it? Dang.
I'm pretty sure.
Worth every penny.
I could be wrong about it, but yeah, want to see F-Zero get attention. Well, I hope it happens because I want to have a reason to try F-Zero.
And you know what we can do with it if it does get some attention and get a new game?
What's that?
We can stream that crap on Twitch. Tell them about the Twitch, Randy.
That's right, guys. We have a Twitch channel. We stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We would love for you to come hang out with us, and it's a great place to just chat with us, but also a lot of times we play games where you can actually play along with us. We love to have you play along. So, yeah, join us on Twitch, or you can join our Discord channel so that you can be notified of when we go live on Twitch.
Yep.
And also we post in there if we ever, have extra spots and we want people to join us. Yep. Either way, just come hang out with us on Twitch.
All right. Well, Randy, the last thing we want to do is I just want to kind of give our thoughts here on what do we think we're going to see in this Nintendo Direct that we think is going to happen. So get us kicked off here, Coyote.
I think that I do think we're going to find out more about that Princess Peach game that we talked about in the last Direct, but they just said, like, it's coming. They didn't even give a name.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that. I think we're probably going to get more information on things like that Luigi's Mansion remaster. Probably going to see something about that.
Yeah.
I will kind of be surprised if they talk about Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yeah, they just did that.
They just did a whole dedicated Direct to that. I don't see why they would talk about it again unless it's very small. It'd be like, you can look forward to this.
Yeah.
But those are like my guaranteed. I think they're definitely going to happen. I could be wrong, but I think they're fairly likely. In terms of stuff that I would love to see, obviously Metroid Prime 4, but I hate to even say it because it's just like...
It's not going to happen.
I just don't, yeah. I would love to see it, but I just don't see it's going to happen. But Metroid Prime related, I think that maybe is more likely, is I could see Prime 2 and 3 getting the like Pikmin 1 and 2 treatment where they get bundled together and they're just basically direct ports.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think that would be a win.
Full price.
Oh, yeah.
$60
Oh, yeah.
for the two games, but they're not remastered. They're just like ported.
Yeah. I think that could definitely happen. Do you think we'll get any sort of updates, any new like Nintendo Switch Online like games, bundled in for like GBA, not new systems, but like I think we'll get any new GBA games or anything like that.
No, because they do those in separate little announcements. I highly doubt that unless they have a big game like they did with like GoldenEye. I think that's the only way they talk about a big. Okay, maybe I could maybe see them being like DK64.
Oh,
Speaking of DK64,
I could see that.
I could see them maybe using the dedicated time to talk about that game. Other than that, no, I don't see them talking about any of that. I don't see them adding a new system because the only thing to add would be like GameCube.
I think that'll come.
They're not doing that.
That'll come out. Well, I don't know if that'll ever come, to be honest with you, but it ain't coming on this Switch either way.
No, maybe the next one.
Yeah.
Maybe like midway through the next Switch 2.
Well, they've ported so many GameCube games.
I know, and they're selling really well. So why would they go and say like, oh, now you can?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
And what they haven't done is port N64 games, largely. So they've just decided that that's going to be one of their legacy systems. But I think GameCube era was a turning point in games where you really can dress those games back up, and they're still absolutely worth playing. They haven't aged that much.
Yeah.
Whereas N64 games are not that way.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance in heck that they mention anything about the new Switch?
I would love it. No way it's happening.
Man.
I would be super excited if that happens. I just don't think they're going to do it because I think that would cannibalize their holiday sales unless it's coming out this year, which it's not. Unless it's coming out this holiday, no, they're not talking about it because it would just ruin this
So
holiday.
you don't think they're going to talk about it till the holiday is over?
Yeah, I don't think we're hearing about it until I don't know. I would my initial thought on Switch 2 is that it was going to be a March release like we got with the last Switch. But the more I think about it, the more I think, no, they're going to go holiday next year. I think we're going to hear about it around summertime of next year. But if we get it at this direct and it's coming out this year,
The rumors are like rampant.
I know, and that's what's crazy is we're getting these all like it's been shown, but people have seen it behind closed doors.
It is like wildfire. Like they are spreading like wildfire right now. So
Saying it's running the Matrix
yeah,
Unreal Engine 5 demo and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, like, what?
like yeah, that got me excited.
But they're saying it's doing it through the DLSS, like the upscaling, the AI upscaling thing.
Yes.
So it's not like it's actually rendering these 4K things. It's you
That's
can
okay.
take like a 720 native and then bring it up to 4K.
Yeah.
But it's got ray tracing and stuff. And
If
all
it does it really well, I don't care.
yeah, who cares how you're getting there?
Yeah, I don't give a crap.
And all this AI stuff is really coming a long way. So, what do you think? Do you think?
No, I don't think we'll get any of that really cool stuff.
No.
I would. I mean, I've been saying this for like multiple directs that if they mention anything about a Switch 2, then that I'll just freak out. Same thing with Metroid Prime 4. If they gave us a new Donkey Kong game that's not Mario versus Donkey Kong, I would freak out. If they announced a new F-Zero game, I would freak out. If they remastered an old one, I would be excited. Other than that, I don't really have any lofty expectations.
I don't either. It's like the Switch has had a great life where we've had so many games from every franchise basically that now we really are kind of like scraping the bottom of the bucket being like, what have we missed,
Yeah.
and there's some big ones that we missed. Donkey Kong is one of those. There has not been a new Donkey Kong game on Switch, which seems so weird
So weird.
when you consider that Donkey Kong is one of the biggest names in Nintendo, and they're creating a new like Donkey Kong Land in the the Nintendo World thing.
Yeah.
They're apparently Donkey Kong's getting a dedicated spin-off movie after the Mario movie came out and did so well. So it seems so weird that Donkey Kong is this huge name, this huge IP, yet we have not seen a game.
It's so weird. I don't get it at all.
If Donkey Kong skips the Switch, it'll be just like super bizarre.
Well, he's getting close.
We're getting real close.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that maybe we are getting a Donkey Kong game as well as this Mario versus Donkey Kong, if it happens. Or maybe all these leaks are just wrong.
That certainly could happen.
I mean, who knows?
Let's see. Did we miss anything, Randy?
I don't think we missed anything. I think we've pretty much wrapped it up, which brings us to the end. Now, if you guys hung out with us this entire time, let me tell you, you are a trooper. And we like to recognize you we would love to shout you out at the end of the next podcast for making it all the way to the end.
Yes, so we do that through our 3 for Dale Club. All you got to do to join, it's very exclusive, by the way. All you got to do to join is post a comment on the YouTube version of this podcast and say whatever the heck you want to say, but make sure you include the phrase 3 for Dale.
Yep, that's our secret code phrase that lets us know that you made it all the way to the end. And if you leave that, we will shout you out at the end of the next podcast. And we got a number of people here this week. Starting it out, we got Bobbity. Bobbity, thank you for being back in the 3 for Dale Club.
Welcome back. Another returning member, we got Cataclysm. Welcome back.
Yep. We also got Addie back again.
What's up, Addie? Next up, we got Morris Dennison.
All right. Next, we got Tom Derry, who recommends that you play Dragon Quest XI. Now, on the last podcast, you mentioned that you were thinking about playing
Yeah.
Dragon Quest XI. We had an outpouring of people saying that you need to play Dragon Quest XI.
Yeah, I saw those comments, and I really appreciate you guys caring enough to say that. I do want to play Dragon Quest XI. I really do. I don't know when I will get to it because we just got Starfield, still got Sea of Stars. I still got to go back and do FF6, and then I got to eventually go back and do FF16.
He's in a bad shape, y'all.
I mean, it's such a bad place to be. It's just
Many games.
It's not easy being me, you know. But thank you so much, and I will play Dragon Quest XI. Landon Stallings is also back, and he apparently also wants me to play Dragon Quest XI and says it's gaming comfort food. And you're speaking my language, buddy.
Yeah, in fact, he emphatically wanted you to play it. It was like all caps, like, play Dragon Quest XI. So it was like, yeah, really wants you to do it. Next, we got Laninator, who also wants you to play Dragon Quest XI and encourages you to at least just try the demo.
And I have the demo downloaded on my Steam Deck as we speak.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll boot that up earlier than...
Yeah, just try the demo. He's like, just try the demo.
Yeah. So next up, we got D18, who said the podcast is their favorite part of Monday. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm glad that. That's awesome. That makes us very, very happy. Next, we got Boods, who tells us to keep up the great work. We certainly will. And thank you for thinking what we're doing is at least somewhat good.
And rounding us out, we got FL, who said one of the coolest things I've ever read in a comment. They said that they usually avoid small channels, but that we have big channel vibes.
Okay. So
that was really cool. That made me smile.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. You know, we are a small channel, but I do think that one day we will be less of a small channel. I don't know.
One day we will be a medium-sized channel.
That's right. I really do think so. I think that, we just talk about the things we love. And I think that, other people are going to at least enjoy hearing us talk about what we love a little bit.
And, me and Randy have done a lot of things together over the years. And we've talked about, not all of those things did we stick with, but we found success with some of them, right? Like we play music all the time. That's the main example. And we've talked about, like, the way you do things is you just don't quit doing things.
Right.
And we've done this podcast 85 weeks in a row, and we don't have any intention of stopping. So as long as you don't quit doing things, you will do things.
That's right. That's the way you do it.
That's the way we do it at Gaming Gig.
Just got to keep going, But thank you guys for hanging out with us. Until next time, my name's Randy.
Which makes me Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Go Braves!